It's Freakout Friday. Hey, welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles, or Freakout Friday, brought to you by I Know a Guy Bicycles. Any case, hey, welcome to my live stream on Friday. If you haven't seen this before, it's just a snapshot of what bike people, bike mechanics, bike shop owners just do on a Friday getting through the week. Well, obviously, this is a little bit different Friday than any other Friday within either the season or off season or anywhere between because, well, it's a day after Christmas. Nuts, right? Hope everybody had a great holiday. Let's put it that way. If you celebrate, hope you're having a great time. Hope you probably still have family to deal with or be a part of, however you want to look at it. But this is the day after where there's a lot of returns, exchanges, and all those things. So we'll talk about a little bit about that. If you've ever watched my channel before, I really have nothing. I'm not shy on content to talk about by any means. But this is more of a casual setting of a live of not really scripted, couple concepts and going with it, showing you what I'm be working on, have been working on, and doing things, and basically shouting out to you that is part of my community. Boo, can't talk, not enough sleep. Anyway, and thank you for joining me. And hopefully you'll find this entertaining. And for those who just can't get enough bike, YouTube, social media stuff, I'm here to help you fill in that void. If you're coming over from the podcast from the Bike Farmer, welcome. I hope you enjoy this show. A little different. We're two completely different dudes, although we've been confused to be one or the other for a little hot minute there. But I basically directed my channel to be a little more of, obviously more style, my style, not more style, my style of different kind of perspective of the cycling industry. So any case, didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole. Just a shout out to those in the chat. You have any questions or anything, just pop out, just say hi or whatever, throw it in the chat. More the merrier, more the welcome. And also gonna do a little bit of reflection, the starting tip of the spear, if you would like, to say what we're looking at for 2026 and what we're looking at 2026 in my perspective of having a little shop and what I'm going to be doing and also in follow up live streams and videos will be more focused on specific heavier topics. You want to keep it a little more light and polite on this kind of thing. So in any case, I hope everybody had a great holidays, and the day after is kind of like the monster of all hangovers, right? You're just, what am I going to do with myself? I got, my shop is dirty, but that's not the bomb that went off. I got a kitchen to clean after this, which is going to take me a hot minute to kind of sort. But any case, so thank you, Spooky Tuesday 17. Thank you. Welcome back. Hope you had a great time down in Pueblo. Enjoy this nice weather. Get out there and ride before this little weird cold front's supposed to hit us tomorrow. But then again, thank you for joining and taking the time to listen in or watch in, or however you get your podcasts. Mike Frost, 2718, thumbs up. Oh, looks like a little flag from across the pond. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate it. Just watched one of your channels in your neck of the woods called CAD Media, which kind of sparked the change of topic. I had a topic started this morning, which was a little heavier, like talking about tariffs and whatever that's going on in the industry. And I'm like, that is way too heavy for me to get my head around. But he did have a topic within Cam Media's podcast, which dropped yesterday. Around minute 19, they were talking about why YouTube influencers in the cycling industry don't like working with each other. Now, I want to kind of combat that comment. And maybe get a little bit of extra insight, because the individuals on the channel, they're great. I suggest watching them. One's a former racer, one's a former mechanic or pro mechanic, and that's married to the producer. Great insights and so forth. More in the upper, newer realm. Not this. My niche is, as you know, if you haven't watched before, is older stuff, used stuff, been around, crotchety old guy talking about crap, whatever, my jaded perspective of the cycling industry and what have you. But I wanted to, give out a couple shiny lights of hope, and what I've seen and where I think 2026 should be going for the cycling industry, especially within the social media platforms, as well as what I'm going to be doing too. So I wanted to give a little insight on that. But yeah, thanks Mike for joining in. Appreciate it. And I wonder if you watch them too. Do you watch the CAD media since they're in your neck of the woods? You definitely chime in. Or any of you, if you watch them as well, for sure. Randy Range, thank you. Rangle. I have a glare on my screen, so I'm having a hard time reading it. We actually have sun that's peering in from the garage, so this is awesome. It's going to be warm today, so. You don't have to be that direct about the farmer. He has his own thing, which is fine. Yeah, he does a little more political, but that's how he rolls. If anything, you could say he's just true to himself and less of a filter. That kind of thing, which I try not to go in those perspectives of how I personally feel too deeply about, to keep it more objective and neutral. Any case, but thank you for watching me and channels that are like me. It's fine. Lawrence, thank you for chiming in. Good morning to you too. Oh, it's rainy in South Cal. Actually, I have friends that are in Cali. They're in the San Francisco, Monterey-ish area, or south. No, sorry, yeah, south of San Francisco, I believe. Yeah, they were pinging, going, it's rainy and sucky here. I'm like, oh, sorry, we're like in the 70s. It's nice out, which is weird for us because our average temperature is way lower, and we did not have a white Christmas this year. So, but yeah, hopefully it dries out for you and you can actually get out and do some riding. Patrick, thank you for chiming in. Nola, oh yeah, that's Louisiana, right? One of my best trips I've ever been on with my girlfriend at the time. It's now my wife. One of the greatest times down in Louisiana. Checked out Bourbon Street and all that good stuff. It was a lot of fun down there. Hey, Joe Channel, thank you for joining in on a Friday. Yeah, Joe's up north. Watch his channel. He's gritty, but it's fun to watch. He's like so true. And seeing somebody just doing his thing up in Canada where it's, really harsh winters and fun summers. Really, really interesting perspective, especially on the colder weather riding equipment that he does use and so forth. But yeah. Oh yeah, in the Bay of Toronto area. Yeah. But it's pretty chilly there too. Any case, so the topic today, loosely on Friday, is kind of like Freakout, got things to do. Well, the project I'm going to be working on, you may have seen this if you've been watching my channel. I'm working on this Klein still. It's on its first stage of ceramic coating. I'm going to do another second one and a third one since it has so many nicks and crannies and corners and so forth to do. But the frame turned out miraculous. I mean, it's beautiful. So it has that two-tone blue to green with a deep glitter. Klein, if you don't know anything about Klein bikes, there's Gary Klein, who was at MIT in the 80s, made a granulate 2 process through an MIT grant, a specialized type of mixed blend of alloys. Then he made a bike company and had tubing and high-grade welds and so forth. Acquired in 97 or somewhere around there from Trek, and Trek fused him with more money instead of going out of business. However you may think about it, I mean, Trek technically did save the line because they would have just faded out to nothing if they weren't purchased. A lot of other companies in the mid-90s, especially the downturn of the mountain bike industry, killed a lot of the smaller companies, niche companies like Gary Klein, where Trek was producing and had a void to fill within their own production, where they picked up Gary Fisher, Gary Klein, Bontrager, Keith Bontrager, Greg LeMond, and various, Rolf Wheels, and they did a whole mix. So, you can say it saved some of those lines, and in Klein's perspective and my perspective, really gave it a good running start, or a good carrying. And they carried the line for almost another 10 years, and then shelved it. But in any case, these beauties and gyms are out there. Some people are just all freaked out, like, I like the pre-Trek ones or what have you. However you feel about it, Trek did some good things with it. The pre-Klein ones had some issues. So with like spacing, non-standardized issues, like they had some weird headset. He was ahead of his time to a point where I would say weird, but it's actually ahead of his time, where if you weren't a Klein dealer, which was a niche dealer with very high technical precision tools, specifically for the MC headset and the Bonner bracket, and their spacing was a little off, and they did have frames that did crack on the seat tube. So the one you saw on Jerry Springer, I think, is a pre-Trek one that's hanging in the background. So in any case, I diverge. Basically, that's what I'm kind of working on, and we'll hopefully have this damn bike done this week. It has some other things going on with it. I had some wheels off the feature that are new and refurbished parts. So there'll be a couple content videos on this particular bike coming forward. And I have, I'd say another 5 or 6 projects before I dive into going to purchase more bikes, to refurbish parts and so forth. So I got a good couple weeks of work just sitting in my garage prior to anything else going on. So that's a good thing. Good thing going on here. Oh, a good one. Spooky Tuesday. Do you all have winter bikes? My Specialized carbon fiber bike goes into hibernation, and the Triple Triangle GT comes out. Yes, I have, and it all depends on your neck of the woods. I could probably say that Joe O'Channel up there, he probably has a little bit of a fatter tire, or if not a fat bike. Living in Michigan for a couple of years in Ann Arbor area, fat bikes were a huge scene because they had lingering snow. In my particular neck of the woods right now, we have, I mean, you'll get a snowstorm, but it burns off. So fat bikes are really not conducive for where I'm at specifically, but that's where you get into the gravel and cross bikes, a little bit wider tires. You get on the roads, might be a little patchy ice or grit and so forth. Yes, so long story, yes, I do have actually 2, my old cyclocross and also converted to Le Mans Buenos Aires with a little bit knobbier inverted style tread from Continental on there, which fits everything just fine. And that'd be good for like, not the messier days, but pretty light days. So basically fine tune like the clear path road, that's my roadie. Then I go with the road with a little bit of gravel tire for a little messy. Then when it's really messy, then I go with the cyclocross. And if it's anything messier than that, I just stay home. So, but unfortunately here, people's particular areas where they live will dictate what kind of bikes they have if they want to keep riding off season. And I do have to say, living in Colorado, there's so many other things to do activity-wise, skiing, snowboarding, up in the mountains, because we're pretty close to the mountains, Front Range. So there's a lot of activities in winter for the general communities here. So a lot of people just hang their bikes up and go do that. In Michigan, though, where they don't have mountains, they have one molehill called Mount Brighton, which is basically a landfill converted into a ski hill by Vail Sports. It is very interesting because riding communities there just try to ride through it. So they got the fat bike races and clubs and all that to do the snow off season. The shop I worked at, Wheels in Motion, they had in January the worst day of the year ride, which I was floored how many people rolled up for this thing every year, depending, like the year I was there, it was like snowing, nasty weather. They had to like cut off some of the routes. They had like 5 or 6 different routes from fat bike to road. So yeah, it was very interesting. So that being said, Spooky, it all depends. But most likely if you're riding somewhat avid cyclists or recreational cyclists, you would probably, if you like it so much, you'll probably get that second bike for bashing through the crusty snow or what have you. But even, I believe the further north you go and the flatter it is, the more crazy your bikes get. Like studded snow tires with sheetrock nails and screws and stuff like that. But in any case, or riding on frozen lakes, which the lakes are not frozen here this year so far. It does at some point, but not too much. But back to the topic, man, we rolled into, how far are we into this already? Yeah, let's talk about that, but I want to bring on, or at least show you the feature of one of the sponsors of today's show.
Wheel Warehouse in California has an excellent selection of wheels to choose from. They're pre-built, or also you can have them custom built up to various sizes. You can reach out to them directly if you have something unique like the 650 wheel or a different style hub. Therefore, it makes it an excellent bike wheel set company that actually provides good wheel sets without breaking the bank. You will find them being very trusted and true. They really hold up under a lot of different riding conditions and so forth. It takes the standard old school wheel building practices and puts them in a better format. But in any case, this is a wheel set you'll be really love to have. It'll perform for you for a long period of time, and the quality and the attention to detail is superb. You'll find information about this company in the description below, with also my personal coupon code. I hope you find a good wheel set where it works for you.
Yeah, they are out of California as a promo, and this is the rear wheel, the wheel set I'm going to be putting on the Klein with a nice blue hue to the spokes. Being a wheel builder in the 90s, these things are put together pretty well. So if you're looking to refresh your older ride or looking for a commuter set, wheel set, don't want to spend a whole bunch of money, they're a great place to go, or at least check out. So I'll be featuring them this week on a couple, like a wheel promo, which I do also have another one from the road bike in my library on YouTube. So in any case, so what we want to talk about is why do specifically the cycling industry niche, YouTube influencers or shops or what have you, don't like collaborating or working with other shops and like niches, or people are avid into cycling and so forth? Why is there a weird, uncomfortable, almost aggressive aggression between certain channels per se, but there's a huge shortage of cycling content on YouTube and other social media platforms, so much so that you're watching me. So as a bike mechanic in a garage doing my thing live. So why is there, there's such a huge demand or opportunity, but yet a lot of the particular channels just don't like each other. They rub each other the wrong way and so forth. And if you're in the chat, go in and pop in what you think it is, because it could be a lot of different things. Is it personality conflicts? Is it you like Specialized and no, but you like Trek, or no, you like anything that's handmade? Is that it? Or are they just afraid to talk to each other? Are they just all introverts? Are they just, bike shops are just too busy and they just want to not care about anybody else and do their thing? What do you think it is? It's kind of a weird elephant in the room per se. I've been doing the YouTube thing for at least 3 years consistently, but this particular stigma and aggression goes back way back before this. A lot of times it does. And why I bring this up is because there was a mentioning of one of the individuals on CAD Media. I'll see if I can find I don't think I can find the video right now, but in any case, I'll post it later in the description below. You can watch the video and the timestamp. It is kind of interesting because one of the individuals on that channel was very frustrated why cycling community people that do social media or media channels on YouTube and elsewhere just don't like working or collaborating or be friendly with each other, which is absurd. But I know why, and there's a pretty big stinky thing about it, and it stems back several decades. And let's just take a little road trip back in time. Boo, back to Parker Bikes days. My parents opened their shop in 1987. And in the fall of 1987, they just signed a contract on a location, and they were trying to figure out what brands they're going to carry. And the particular area they're opening a shop was a smaller town at the time, which is now just an extension of Denver metro area. But it was not a non-conflicting territory for any brand, in other words, or any other shop per se. They took their time to look at other shops to possibly purchase and so forth, but they landed up opening up their own, which made more sense at the time for them. There's the funny story is they decided to have a meeting, and had a meeting at my grandma's house of all places. And they had the Specialized rep there, the Trek rep there, the Schwinn rep there, and various other reps. Just meet them there and just kind of interview them, basically. It was kind of a weird thing. And I just know those reps, they're somewhat friendly to each other, but they were all competing to become a brand in a new shop that's opening up in Parker. So there was some, pretty aggressive. And talking to John Bradley's been on my channel before several times, and he's more of a friendlier individual. I don't think he has a very aggressive mean bone in his body, even though he'll drop you on a ride in a heartbeat. But he's really friendly, and he doesn't have any underlining like plan or like kind of sneaky thing. And he was a pretty straightforward individual, which some of these reps were back then. But there was some pretty harsh competition between these brands, and especially when Schwinn faltered and they were like the king of everything. And then all of a sudden, that's in the United States mainly, I'm just saying in my little ecosystem here, not globally, but Trek and Specialized, but they were gunning for the market share, and aggressively, and still are kind of grumpy about each other about it. So how I feel how it came about is such aggression of Kool-Aid pushed down into the shops and shop owners and staff that were influenced by the particular brands, that when another brand came in your store, even for service, you mock them in the back. They're never like, it was, I don't know. And I'm guilty of this too. That's where I had epiphany. It's like, okay, now I don't have any brands. I've been riding different brands and refurbishing them and all that for the last 5 years. And I found like, hey, Canada had just as nice bikes, a little different than the Treks and everything else. And it's like, when you take away the Kool-Aid from all these different brands, then you really see the actual brands and how they're pushing themselves. Because a lot of times you're competing. It's a business competitive, this nastiness, to the point where we had a competitor in the 90s that just opened the shop up after a few years we had ours, and his direct motive was to put us out of business. And I was like, whoa, wow, okay. And we were just a family bike shop, and he was like gunning for us. And I mean, I still have heated feelings about this guy. Like, he is one of the jerks of all jerks. Like, and he used to be one of a brand's reps at the time, thinking he know all of everything. And he is still a prick of today. I met him a couple of years ago at an event, and I'm like, man, you're such a jackass still. But I kept it to myself, right? I try to be the cool collective guy and go, hey, how's it going? Yeah, I hope everything's going well for you. Oh, you're retired finally? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, and in my mind, I'm giving him a big bird, like, yeah, you just go and just, So there's aggression. And I'm guilty of this aggression. But the last few years, I don't have that aggression anymore. And seeing and being part of, I'm more ingrained in the cycling community now than I ever have, which is mind-blowing. And being retrospective, looking at what we've done in the 90s and early 2000s and aggressions of owners and bike brands and whoever, at the end of the day, we're in a different scenario where a lot of bike brands as well as bike shops and reps and community, in that perspective of the retail portion of the community of cycling, needs to help each other out, or they're not going to be around. And if at the end of the day we're trying to support our cycling community, which is the people that ride the bikes, that come in and get in service or buy new bikes and new blingy things. So that's my crazy epiphany of like, okay, this guy said about other brands, and they're a big channel. So they've had a lot of experiences of interacting with a lot of different people within the YouTube realm. They've like their podcast is over 100 episodes. They seem to be pretty decent people, and not like they come off very aggressive or talking negatively to a point of in your face like your stuff sucks. And their experience, like these people are just not warm and receiving, which is just mind-boggling to me. So, which put me back to, you guessed it, in the 90s going, oh, I know why. And these are younger individuals. So they've been around probably in the cycling scene for the last, 10 years or 15 years. But this crap's been stemming for decades. And it still spews over, unfortunately, into today's brands to some level. And it's shaking, honestly, it's shaking all the major brands to the core what is going on in today's economical situation. So for us, frontline community leaders, community ambassadors, whatever you want to call us, bike mechanics, shop owners that are dealing with, people, and then we having, the devil and the angel on our shoulder from the brands that we carry. There at this point we're just knocking them off like, yeah, for a while you had leverage, now you don't. And now a lot of bike shop owners, if they've been around for a long time, going to have to do a self-check if they haven't already of what do we need to do to take care of our community, because these guys have been buying the products from them for decades are now flipped. They're no longer forcing the narrative. Now they're trying to observe and cater to the narrative, which is the industry. So in any case, I know that's a big, verbal diarrhea of what happened. But it is messy. It is horrible. But now I feel like I'm in a much better Zen place, like the Zen Bike Mechanic book that I featured on my little show earlier. It's like you're trying to find that place, like what's good for me? What makes me happy? Doing what I'm doing to make sure my cyclists that come to me and trust me, which thank God they entrust me to work on their stuff, and get them out there and help them with their journey and their experiences. It's such a huge eye-opener and also it's changed me. Honestly, it's changed me quite a bit. So in any case, I'll read a couple of your chats here that you're chiming in. Because obviously, I know you guys have opinions as much as I do. That's why you're here watching me. Of course. Heavy Metal Cycles, thank you for joining in. I think the problem is popularity. Car videos. Will it run? Restore cars is huge. Maybe bikes are not. Well, there's a big following of people, especially now. People are looking for refurbishing or fixing up the classics. That's right. You only do BMX, so I got a smaller market. Only in the 70s and the early 80s. Very few of us. Yeah, I think the BMX thing is kind of coming back to some level. I mean, honestly, my friend, he's what he asked me to do inspired me to do Tuesday or Wednesday's video about the night before Christmas, because he was a little more proactive. It was not like the night before. It was a few days before though. And he was like, "Here, can you do me a favor and put these together?" He was getting BMX bikes for his kids, which are newer and I would almost, I mean, if I had more, if he would have let me know a month or two before, and also I do have to apologize because his wife told me and I forgot to follow up, but I would have probably found him a really decent, like a classic BMX and refurbished it and had, for about the same amount of costs, that kind of thing. But in any case, but yeah, I mean, I think BMX might be coming back. But yeah, I mean, we carried BMX in the 90s, which was GT, Powerlight, Dyno, Mongoose is the 4 brands I think off the top of my head. And within those brands, they were pretty competitive with each other for sure. Very sure. So heavy metal cycle goes on. Bikes, maybe as older guys, as older bikes are retired or going away. Hate to say it, but the 90s mountain bikes might not be as popular as you might think. True, because there's a big iteration of a change in the mountain bike scene from 26-inch wheels to 29. And therefore, a lot of people, especially now, since it's been a couple decades of 29ers, taking over everything, that just, people look at the 26 as it's kind of like, a relic 70s muscle car. It's like, it's too heavy, goes slow, drinks a lot of gas. Kinda, but they are kind of cool. You can still have fun riding them. But I still think there is let's put it this way. Let's take how I feel and put it to dollars of donuts of what has actually been selling. Well, all vintage parts from the 90s and the early 2000s have been blowing out my door. Not my other door. Selling on my site and off of eBay and so forth. So there is a collective out there that are fixing up and fixing and getting ready, adding to, refurbishing. I just sold a pair of 3x9 X-rays in the tin. Brand new. Bradley wanted me to sell it for him because it was like he got it back in the day and never used them. They're unused, brand new, and yeah, it sold for a good coin. So I think there is maybe not as big as the general population for cycling, but it is a pretty good pipeline, especially through the eBay platform, for sure. Let's see here. Aggression on something I don't understand. Yeah, it's. I think the newer generation of cyclists are more open to different brands. But back in the 90s, if you rode a Specialized and you rolled up at a race with a Trek, they looked at you like a piece of whatever. It was just weird. Now it's kind of like the brand is whatever. Oh, hey Bob, let's go ride, let's race. That kind of thing, which should be in shops going forward, but still seeing that being reflected in this YouTube realm of working with or collaborating and coming with ideas of different things. It's absurd because how I see it and being in it for 3 years plus, there is not a shortage of content that can be created. And it could be multiple layers of the same type, even niche, and it still would have an audience that would continuously watch it. It's not flooded by any means. It's just a mere drop in the bucket, in which anything they can do is help leverage that to work with other channels to become very more successful and get their branding out there in a bigger audience, which in turn helps your niche and your channel. Like, hey, I bring in other people. I'm a friendly person. I bring in other, brands, bring in other channels, I bring in shops and featuring them, which I've done. I want to do more of that. I mean, it's a lot of fun to give them a little bit of a spotlight and really kind of expose what they do. One of my best conversations I had with the live stream was a shop in Las Vegas, and they were they were awesome. I was hanging out there and spoke to them, and we found what they were doing. And I talked to them like about an hour before and a couple hours afterwards after I did the live, and it was just like, it's really, Swanny Cycles, if you want to know. More road-ish, eccentric. They do work on mountain bikes, but they had a really cool vibe to them, like the small bike shop vibe. And they know every customer by their name for the most part, and they are great with their community. So to feature something like that and bring them into the mix, I mean, it was just awesome and heartwarming for me. Where coming across other channels that might be aggressive, like, oh, don't watch these people because they suck, which is kind of absurd because do you really watch their channel? Because honestly, and earlier in the chat here, somebody didn't like the Bike Farmer. And quite honestly, I don't watch a lot of his stuff. I see his stuff pop up once in a while, and I'll click in a little bit here and there. But honestly, that's not a channel for me per se to watch, but that doesn't mean that some of you that watch me watch him, and I shouldn't alienate others. And some of the things he does is kind of honestly wackadoodle, which is okay because people are going to tell me some of the crap I do is wackadoodle as well. They call me out on it, which is fine. And some of it is justified, and some of it is like, oh, I should probably do better. And that's what it is. I mean, you come down at the end of the day, you just want to do better for you and your community. If you're not improving or searching out better ways of doing things as a mechanic, that's basically your beat in DNA. I mean, you have to do that because if not, you're lost. You'll be stuck in the 80s forever. And when that stuff no longer is relevant, you're gone. I mean, you got to kind of roll with it to some level. I mean, I haven't gotten into the e-bike, motors and batteries and all that because there's somebody else that does that in my neck of the woods that does take. I have enough business doing what I'm doing, but if I run out, I'm going to convert and change a little bit. That's just really the moral story of it. So I know this is kind of like a long rant, but anyway, I want to take in your comments too. Let's see here. I need to back up on the chat here and catch up. So we talked about the 90s mountain bikes and how aggressive people are. Yeah, dog eat dog world. It doesn't have to be that way. It's kind of like, I mean, I've been in that aggression piece. You got to find where you can find a better, happier place and be okay with people buying parts off of Amazon and bringing them into your store and working on those bikes and not have a gleam or irritation. I mean, I know it's hard. It is hard for talking to the bike shop people. I know it's hard. I mean, it goes against like, why didn't you buy that bike for me or support me or whatever? But the thing is they're just getting and not thinking that way. And they're either buying it because it's convenient for them or the price. But if anything, for me, it's like, I'm just here to help him. When you take on that mindset, it's a little bit easier. And they're they keep coming back. And they have experiences at other shops still currently today. And you're like, whoa, they said what? And it's hard to swallow because it's like, it shouldn't be that way. And it's still coming from the corporate. It's the corporate Kool-Aid. And that's the pain of it. That still stems 30 years, 40 years. So it's just, yeah, whatever. Heavy Metal Cycles, big fan of the 26, but it's a beach cruiser. I think I need to get like a bigger, like a 24, I think SC, the newer SC BMX bikes, they have a single speed 26. That'd be kind of fun to just tool around, that kind of thing. Yeah, the 29ers, you're right, Heavy Metal Cycles. The 29ers is kind of big for a cruiser style bike, especially if you're riding around the neighborhoods. We have a couple rolls that we ride on from Specialized. They're 27 Bs and a little bit wider. That's about the perfect size. Anything bigger would be way too big for that, for me, in my personal opinion, but that's me though. Heavy Metal Cycles says, I like the active, or Matty Active, because it shifted on me, sorry. It goes around 2 bike shops Bike Farmer, went to a big eBay store shop. Oh yeah, I think I saw part of that show, the eBay store shop. Oh, the shop dog. Yeah, I see their stuff on eBay too. It was awesome. Maybe traveling is the key. Possibly, to some level, sure. You can have conversations with shops without having to move. That's the great thing. And even on this platform, StreamYard, I can do that's why I'm on this, is I can do interviews and so forth pretty seamless without being in the shop. Although I do love sniffing around their shop and checking out what they do, and kind of like you don't get the full feel of the ecosystem until you're actually in their place. Yeah, and I'd be more than happy to, but there's also a financial portion of that where I have to get big enough to support the costs of traveling and so forth, and that kind of thing. But I do when I can, when I have opportunities, for sure, absolutely. Let's see here. All right. Yeah, so yeah, Saddle Weary 2777. Yeah, thank you for joining in, and thank you for your comments. Yeah, I try to be more, however, like deep feelings about certain channels. I have to look, outside myself, like, oh, come on, don't be so critical of whatever, because they're doing their thing. And if they're true to themselves, it's fine. They have an audience for it, that's fine. I found that some of my channel subscribers are bike shop people, and they're running the shop, running a show in the back of their shop and so forth, where I realized real quickly I needed to cut out all the curse words. Reason being is, even though I personally, in natural state, I'm like Roy Kent from that show. It's like, F-bomb here in real life, but I realize you can't have that in the back of your shop playing when you have customers in the store. So, that's kind of like the layer of protection. I want to make sure that they're safe, like you're not gonna, they can listen to me and not be alienate anybody in earshot, that kind of thing. Yeah, some people, like in other cycles, yeah, you find yourself like in the bike channels, in the car channels, comedy channels, that kind of thing. There's so much. So, but within those niches, when they were talking about it on CAD Media, the one guy that was the racer, he's talking about like, I deleted all the channels, the biking relating, because he went into like just guitar niche, and the collaboration amongst the guitar niche music industry, whatever, was a lot more warming and so forth, as his perspective. And it's like, well, that to some layers of that is true, and I'm in a different niche too, that I'm just dabbling in just for fun, and I'm finding that too. So it's like, oh wow, it's completely different over here than what I'm used to, and that is fun for me, because it's like I am not an expert in this other niche. I'm more of like the person that just rides a bike channel versus been in it for so long, I'm jaded, I've been working on tools and what have you. I know this other niche, I'm just walking in kind of blind, and their people are just kind of fun just watching me walk in blind. Like, this is how we're doing it, and I'm gonna take you along with the journey of learning, which I found, and it seems to me pretty true, because a lot of channels that here for the cycling niche have that too, and they resonate with the average cyclist or the beginner cyclist a lot more than some of us experts have been in around it and doing it for so long that it gets lost in translation. So, we start talking about technical things like, a headset with bearings and press fits and all that, and then they're like, huh, what? And it's just like, okay, this is the headset right here, I'm gonna put it in the video, and this is the bearings, and that's where I kind of try to kiss it up, which means keep it simple, stupid. and it, because I got to take myself out of my own shell because I've been doing it for so long, and I've been trying to do that, and I've been hopefully successful to a point of doing that, to help be resonated to those who just are learning, just starting, to those who've been working on bikes for a long time and going, oh yeah, I've done that too, which is fine, but yet still being entertaining for both audiences and those in between. And that's hard to do because, like in the car industry or the, other industries where it's technical, you got the extreme, very focused, intense individuals to those who are like, I've seen some car videos and you're like, they've sat in like 4 cars their whole life, but yet you're still watching them because they're entertaining. It's like, ooh, what's this thing? Or whatever. So, not that I'm in those genres for very long, but in this new channel niche starting off, and I'm watching other channels, and there's that extreme again. You got the pros, and they're featuring their product they're sponsored with, and the videos are just overly edited, like it's like a commercial. And then you have me, just grainy, gritty, bad audio, and you got a video, and the video I shot, released yesterday on that channel, got like 3,000 views, like. Yeah, it's just like nuts. So, so I'm taking my learnings, and that's where it kind of compiles, and I'm going to loop back. But before that, I do need to drink some coffee and clear my throat and throw up this other sponsor that I have.
Very popular chain process or waxing of Vital Bike Chains provides brand names like Shimano, SRAM, and various others to be cleaned in high detailed 5-step process and then waxed to your professional level with either speed chip or endurance chip, which has been proven to have better performance and better lasting events and recreational riding. Takes care of the messy process, and all you have is the clean wax chain ready to perform. Check them out. Discount code with a link below.
All right, that's why I have a backup mic. You guys can hear me now? Oh my God, I gotta start my rant all over again. Oh, this is horrible. Muted. Are we good now? Thumbs up. All right. Yeah, I think my mic just ran out of power or something. I don't think I hit a button. But in any case. So let's see here. Sound is off. Like how long ago? A minute? Oh my God, I talked a lot in a minute. Oh, okay, so I digress. Go back to what I'm going to do in 2026. Oh my God, that makes me sound old. When I was a kid, 2026 is that when they had like Space Odyssey stuff. In any case, servicing bikes, tune-ups and so forth is one of the big ones that's going to help me, keep going. Selling parts, refurbished parts and frames and wheels and stuff, that's the other part of it. And the other thing, so that's what keeps, it keeps me in business. So what I'm going to do with, what should I do with YouTube and the social media? I mean, this is like what I'm asking myself. And how do I get, the bike shop owners, smaller independent bike shop owners, bike mechanics, people who are in the cycling industry or, that sell parts and so forth, more niche. Also the avid cyclists to the recreational cyclists and to the new cyclists to help them have a good community and safe place to come and feel comfortable either in the shop or online YouTube and that kind of thing, and how to help with those companies, get their brands out there and shops, and how to get their brand out there, because it's no longer corporate Kool-Aid stuff, and it shouldn't be at all. It should be whatever niche that they're catering to. So how do we get that? Like, how do we collaborate? You see where I'm going with this? Like, I'm collaborating. How do you collaborate with the avid cyclist? And I've been toying with this and playing and doing samplings from customers that like ride, and to fans that come and see me, to gone to bike shops and actually did interviews, what they do and what their perspectives are, and then talk to specific, like there's a guy in Fort Collins, Colorado, Widefoot. He makes bottle cages and little racks that go on for cargo, not cargo, but adventure riding, that kind of thing, like straps and so forth. And he makes it all here. And it's like a great little story. And also hopefully at some point collaborate with other channels that they don't see me, I don't know, as a threat, I guess. Maybe I scare them because I've been around for a long time, or maybe I'm just dumb, or maybe I'm just, not exactly what their niche is, which they need to drop, because there's so many different perspectives of the full cycling, experience, and so many different little pieces of it. I can talk to somebody in a very fun, good conversation if they have a channel that does like bike packing, or they're just doing touring rides, and that kind of thing. I'd be really happy to talk to them and see what their experiences are and how it overlays, and we can have a very entertaining conversation that would help their channel as well as mine. Let's step back. Help their community or expose their community as well as my community. And that's the thing. You got to switch customers with community. That's the big change going in 2026. Regardless of whatever's happening with the Chicken Little government style, or the manufacturers totally freaking out and pulling their hair out, which they are, and we got to all just like put that aside and go, they're going to have to take care of themselves. They need to come to us with a plan, because their current model is crap. So they need to reinvent the wheel of their business models. But in the meantime, for the rest of us mechanics and bike shop owners and community cyclists, we got to go, we're still doing our thing, and we need to find ways how to keep supporting ourselves as well as those others. And it's just, I mean, I read Bicycle Retailer, where it's just a lot of stuff. You get the topics from per se and want to talk about my opinion pieces. But there's a couple other outfits or outlets that I read and watch that are European too, because it's one of those things where their markets kind of lead our market in weird ways. So you got to have a pulse on that. Not that I need to have that edge or anything, but it's good insights, because what's going on there will eventually roll and steamroll us here. But those same companies that sell in the United States, Trek and Specialized, are global companies. So you gotta keep a pulse on it and what's affecting them. But anything is, what I'd love to see myself and my channel, and I think hopefully you can tell me I'm wrong and offbeat or just do something completely different, is try to loop in good content creators, loop in great shops, featuring them, and individuals in those shops. I mean, man, I can tell you pretty much every shop I've worked in over the last 35 years, there's one or two, or maybe all of them, that been around and had some really kooky, crazy stories and experiences and whatever their thing is. I love to bring those stories to light and to bring them out, because you have what nut crazy nut doing one thing in California is going to be doing a completely different thing in Michigan, and another one down in Florida. But they're entertaining, like, oh, your experiences of doing this or what have you are just awesome. And it's, honestly, at the end of the day, what are we doing here? What am I doing here on YouTube and social media outlets is storytelling, and giving you insights of what I've been experiencing and taking you along for that journey. And hopefully I resonate with you to at least most of the time, where even though I may not be very precise or correct or whatever, but people can judge and be haters, that's fine. But at the end of the day, though, you want to you resonate with your community and you bring them, build them up, right? Because the old days of competitiveness from the Kool-Aid, from the big main manufacturers, I'm basically giving the big finger and say, hey, no, that is enough. You dictated our lives in the cycling world for too long, and this has come around and bitten you in the butt, and here we are. And what we're going to do is really focus the people that really do matter to us, our family and our friends and those who ride in our community. Pretty simple. Not to be too aggressive to them, but there's some my personal opinion, there's some things that they did not take care of their cycling community as much as they should. And some of you have chimed in before is, yeah, they were just going, they're for-profit companies, but they need to be a little more, I'm going to say not considerate, more understanding or contributing, let's put it that way, to their communities that have been pulling the money out of the pockets of bike shops over the last 3 decades. And in case. But I'm sure you guys all have opinions on this as well as I do. But hopefully at the end of the day, when you go for a ride, hopefully you're not thinking about me. You're not thinking about the bike shops. Hopefully you're thinking about how much you're not stressed. You're having a good time. You're breathing the fresh air and getting some good exercise and that kind of thing. And then when you're done with your ride, you're like, oh, maybe I need to get my bike work done, that kind of thing, or the improvement or what have you. And it's like, oh, maybe I need to watch that video on the old classic. Maybe I should get a nice beater classic for the off season, whatever. So there's a lot of different things that, as a content creator, and I think I'm going to make a point of trying to bring the cycling community as for the social media, YouTube portion out, and do a lot more outreach to these channels. Like, hey, you want to collaborate? Let's talk about some stuff. I've been doing this for a while. I might have some good dumb ideas, but let's have a good time with it. And it's like, oh, compassionate. That's right. GPAS. It's passion, understanding, because we got steamrolled by a brand that kind of put us out of business. So, I'm trying to take, a lot of that ancient anger and just make it go away. I can't let them have any more real estate in my mind or what I do anymore, because I want to do more or better than whatever that was. So that's where I'm going to try to, implore any of you out there. There's some people who just are not, some bike shop owners are not extroverts by any means, especially mechanics. Some are, I'm not going to say, some are, but most of us I used to be this as a same, like I didn't want to talk to people. I just want to work on bikes. For the longest time. I mean, the whole good portion of the 90s, and my dad would kick me out on the sales floor. Then it'd be like a deer in headlights trying to talk to somebody about a Trek 820. Like it was just, I was forced to get out of that shell, and now you just can't shut me up. So, and, so that's what, the creation of that is. But yeah, going back to, the cycling people, we're all a little weird. We're all little odd ducks in different ways. But that's what makes it so beautiful, because some of this craziness is like really cool, and some of it is like, wow, you're crazy, but you're entertaining. So I want to feature, shops. I want to feature small brands, things that I think are really cool. Especially since being in industry for 35 years, I can kind of sniff out bullshit things, or the barrage of e-bike manufacturers from foreign countries trying to give me something just to feature, because I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm not happy doing that. I rather promote somebody that's trying and working hard at it and has a great story, that kind of thing. And same thing with channels. I'd love to talk to the Cat Media individuals. They seem to be cool people. Also Party Pace, I forget his first name, but he seems to be a really cool guy, and very interesting story. He's not a bike industry person, although he has a bike channel, and it sounds like him and his wife just do a lot of bike packing trips and so forth, and just made a channel out of it, and that's way cool. And I don't, the stuff that he says and so forth might not be, not exactly correct, but I don't judge. I'm like, okay, cool. Whatever you think or was cool for you. I'm not here to correct everybody. I'm not the bike police by any means. And your experiences are obviously way further and different than mine. But I'd love to collaborate and talk to individuals like that, all the way down to local bike shops doing their thing. Get together with Josh at Precision E-Bike and talk about his latest and greatest and what he's going into this next season, and then more so. And to not just necessarily keep my channel fresh. In my head, I come up with like 10 different ideas for video topics every day, on the hour, every hour when I'm working on stuff. It's like, oh, I need to feature this. It's just not enough time. So in other words, I know for a fact there's enough space in the YouTube realm that we don't have to be competitive whatsoever and still all thrive. Because obviously you guys are still watching me, and apparently, there's not enough stuff out there that you are watching me. So in any case, hopefully I resonate with a lot of you out there. And there's another part of cyclists and racers and people that generate content and so forth. A lot of them are introverts. It's a single person sport for the most part. I mean, yeah, they have teams for, road teams and so forth, but at the beginning, or for especially mountain bike or cyclocross racing and all that, and a lot of riding, it's usually just an individual sport, which a lot of that puts a person, or a lot of people gravitate to that are not really, they don't play well with others sometimes. And that's where some of the newer channels and so forth are aggressive, possibly, with each other. But I still think it really stems back 30 years ago, where brands were just really pushy on what they were. I think now we have a lot of opportunity to reach out and be, bring in, more insights and have fun with it, right? That's all. Cycling is supposed to be fun, right? Go out there, have a good experience, have a good ride, cautionary tales on certain things, but be warned, but not be scared, and have a good time at the end of the day, that kind of thing. So, should jump back into the chat here. I'm about done with my time. I got things to do. Actually, family. My son's in town, and we're gonna go hang out and with his girlfriend and with my daughter and stuff. So it's just gonna be fun. All right. Thanks you for letting me that the sound came back on too. Appreciate that. Yeah, you just don't know, and you just feel weird. Like I just spent the last 5 minutes talking to myself, and nobody's listening. Swiftix Bikes Life. Thank you for chiming in. Thank you for letting me know that I'm not dumb. I have dumb moments. Let's put it that way, and don't we all? All right, Swiftix in the house. All righty, yeah. And yeah, if any of you guys have channels and want to collaborate, let me know. Or if you're starting up channels, and it doesn't have to be exactly in a cycling specific. It could be other things too, for sure. GPAS, thank you for joining in. I think you're in New York, right? Merry Christmas to you too. Oh yeah, you're in New York. Yeah, could read. Yeah, I need to read a little bit before I go to the next comment. Oh. Yeah, you're experiencing a bike mechanic trying to do YouTube that's live, so please have patience. Oh, Russ and Laura, that's it. Are good folks, exactly. Patrick, thank you, Patrick Washburn, I've seen some of the stuff, and actually, his channel was one of the channels that I saw that was successful. And the content he was putting out, I was like, oh, if he's doing this, I should be able to find something here. Not thinking that, oh, I can do better than that. It was not by any means at all. I was like, oh, just give me the insights, like, oh, there is a community here that I can, reach out to and so forth. Lo and behold, did I not know how crazy it would get. But yeah, he was one of the first ones I was watching on this channel, Party Pace or something like that, right? I'll try to remember or look it up and put it into the description below when I get a chance. Oh, Levi, thank you for joining in at 4,500. Cold and rainy in Idaho, huh? Or Ohio, sorry. So to say things are extra silly in the little hole-in-the-wall service shop. Oh, the micro shops are the future. That's kind of where it's really pushing, because that's the only ones that can survive without getting in too much financial trouble and crashing. Because either their rent's too high or the brands they have is too much floor space to fill that they can't sell. In turns, coming from being an inventory manager, they have some serious issues. So there's going to be some serious leaning of the industry. Hi, nice. Thank you for Andy for chiming in. Yeah. Watching and doing repairs, living the dream, tinkering, for sure. William Brown, thank you for joining in and chiming in. Appreciate it. Thank you for telling me you're doing a great job. Oh, Path Less Pedal. That's right. Thank you, Patrick, for letting me know. Yeah, check out that channel. That's a really fun story because it seems to be what I've seen. I don't watch all their stuff. I mean, I just don't have time, unfortunately. But I've skipped over the years. I've been watching YouTube, and it's really cool that they made a channel out of it and got rid of their regular jobs and then just sold everything and moved over to Spain or Portugal or whatever they're at and doing their thing there. It's really cool to see. Very inspirational. Also, the community that they built and how they talk. It's just like, we're not the super experts. We're relatable. Which I hope to be at some point. That's my goal, to be relatable. Anyway, yeah, it's one of those things that, yeah, in any case. So yeah, that's put it in a nutshell. working on some cool things this week coming up. Back to the grind on Monday, pretty serious. And what else is there? Yeah, there's going to be a lot more content coming out in 2026. But there's going to be a lot more focus on in-house work too, because that's what's really paying the bills. There is a financial lag, I would say, coming from this portion of the business, if you will. Either the algorithms change, what have you, but you got to roll with the punches and change what needs to be changed and going forward. Don't worry, I'll still be here, just doing different, more of the same, kind of thing. And, one of the, your family or my family knows that I'm in cycling so much. I got a road bike calendar for Christmas, which cracks me up for two reasons. One, well, they know I've been doing this for a long time and what have you. But the other thing too is do I really want pictures of people riding in beautiful places where I should be riding myself? It's kind of like teasing me. No, seriously, it was a thoughtful gift. I appreciate it. But it's one of those things. It's just kind of funny. You think about I need to do a lot more riding. Maybe that's where I need to do more riding videos. Working on them and that kind of thing. Just a little bit of everything. But I love the community that has been developed. I feel like I don't feel like I created it because it was already there. I'm just very thankful that I'm a part of that, the communities on social media that are shared amongst a lot of channels. And they do, some people have very strong opinions, obviously probably about me too, then versus others, which is fine. And, that's what it is. But I think for us channels, there's a great opportunity for us to work with each other, also with shops that have channels and so forth. Or here, this was I'll leave you with this thought with some shops out there. They tried the YouTube thing and just didn't see the instant return on it. Therefore, they basically shelf. A lot of shops have done this, big and small. And there's nothing wrong against that because they have to put their focus and efforts and so forth into it. But how about they have a already established channel that they can leverage to help promote their store without having to do the whole YouTube thing? Because quite honestly, it was hard just to get here. A lot of hours, a lot of sacrificed time, a lot of things I should have been doing, other things that I put on the back burner and put for this one more of attention forward. And I don't regret it by any means, but would I be further along on the business aspect of it? Probably, versus the social media aspect of it. But that was not my goal. That's not my intention. That's not where my goal has changed to. Now it's kind of being the ambassador of the cycling community in the shop perspective and trying to help shops become better and cyclists to understand and be more comfortable in all those spaces, to help people, from all those to get to those better place. And, because it's driven by a simple perspective. Cycling's fun. We like doing it. It's a fun thing. It's healthy for you. It helps people out, physical, mental, or anything. So, it's something that I'm very passionate about and have been for years. Obviously, I'm still in it, or I would not. And to share those experiences and stories and all those things is great. And that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. So yeah, a little to a lot of reflection of 2025 going into 2026. And it's not all about business structure of how can I make more money and all that. It's actually how I can build my community, and hopefully the money will follow. But it's really about the passion piece of, building the community, making it what it is, contributing to the communities that are already there. How about that? Any case, thanks for hanging out with me on a Freakout Friday. Oh, thank you so much, Sadawari. I try. That's that's all you can ask, right? People to try. Yeah. Hope you guys had a great holiday. Hope you guys have a great New Year coming up. I will be on Tuesday on Shop Talk Tuesday, 10 o'clock Mountain Time, and also Freakout Friday next Friday. There'll be a New Year's going on next week. So we're planning to stay in a town, so I'll be just tinkering and working on stuff. Yeah, like the what was it, the song or a saying or a comedian said, yeah, now starts the clock on spending or paying back for the next 5 months what we spent for yesterday. So, case in point, we had some pretty expensive gifts that we're going to be paying off for a while. So, but nothing replaces the smiles and the surprise and the the holiday, the feeling that you've made somebody's day, especially if it's a family member, that kind of thing. So I hope you all well. Thank you for joining me. It does make this channel, so appreciate every one of you that chime in. And hey, let's push this forward and let's do some cool stuff, right? Let's do some cool stuff and make it more what we need to be, a community. Let's push that community initiative. Wow, sounds professional. In any case, yeah, I'm just gonna go back through the chat and just thank everybody that chimed in. Saddle Warrior, thank you so much for chiming in and contributing to the chat here. Joe Channel, thank you so much. We will chat with you next time. Good luck on your shop, and people watch his channel building a little shop in his basement. That's kind of cool. Susan, thank you for chiming in. I believe you're up north. 'Tis the season to reflect on the years that is almost over. Yes, and decide what you want to change and you will want to be doing forward. Yep. Hopefully it's not a 2 steps back kind of year, which this year's kind of like feeling. Maybe we can get a step forward on it. Shiz 2020, thank you for letting me know. Patrick as well on Pedal Less Path Less Pedal. William, thank you for chiming in, as well as Randy, another bike tech that does his thing. Levi as well. I got you guys all over the States and abroad. Patrick again, Swift Fix Bike Life. I'll have to check out. Do you get Swift Fix Bike Life? Is that do you have your own channel? So just throw it in the chat. I'll have to check it out. And we also have GPS. Thank you for chiming in as well. All right, we've got a lot of you guys. You guys must be like already sick of your families. Or are you just trying to get out of cleaning the house, which I'm doing right now. It's a mess. It is a mess. Oh, thanks for Aaron for chiming in. Appreciate it. Heavy Metal Cycles as well. Love hearing your insights. You guys are chatting in. Gary, thank you for letting me know that as well as Aaron, my audio is off. Yeah, I had a little technical difficulties there. All right, rolling up. Getting to the top of the list of the chat here. Oh, Spooky Tuesday, one of the leaders, as well as Patrick, Washburn, Lawrence, chiming in. So yeah, Mike as well. Mike from overseas. Thank you for listening on Spooky Tuesday. There we have it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you all for hanging out with me on a day after Christmas. And hope you got all the gift cards you need to go buy what you really want. I got a couple of lottery tickets to scratch off. Hopefully I'll win something so you can buy some fun new tools. That's what I'll waste my money on. Yeah, I got to have your priorities, right? Anyways, thanks everybody hanging out. Hope you guys have a good one. We'll see you. I don't think is that New Year's Eve? I'll have to look on the calendar here. Is it New Year's Eve next week? No, Tuesday is the 30th, day after New Year's. Okay, so yeah, we are good to go. Probably come with some good content on Tuesday to talk about. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Please like and subscribe if you like content like this. and to support my channel. I do have a preferred list of brands that I work with or get affiliate with. Let's put it that way. But Bicycle Warehouse, they're one of the go-to individuals that are helping me support, as well as Vital Bike Chain too, for doing stuff that I do. And they're good people, good products. So can't say anything too negative about them, nor would I. Thanks again, everybody. Everybody have a good one. And until next time, and again, if it's Friday, it's Freakout time. I got to go clean dishes and straighten up the house and take out the recycling. Thank goodness we have 2 recycling bins this year. A lot of wrapping paper this year. In any case, thank you all for hanging out. Oh, plus I need to go warm up my coffee.